week. It's just another way our game is getting better all the time. Nebraska Pick 5 top prize odds 1 in 658,000.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Experience flexibility like never before with Ace Rent-to-Own. Whether you're decorating a new home or upgrading your electronics, they provide easy payment plan options that suit your budget. No credit checks, no hefty interest rates, just straightforward renting solutions designed with you in mind. Find great options to make a beautifully furnished space or surround yourself with the latest gadgets. With Ace Rent-to-Own, it's all within your grasp. Visit acerentoown.com and bring home more than just a product. Bring home a lifestyle.
Whether you're looking for a place to stay for a concert at PBA, a Nebraska home game, or just a night on the town, the Courtyard Lincoln Downtown Haymarket is the place for you. Enjoy an evening at one of many restaurants or bars within a short walking distance. Business travelers at the hotel will enjoy free high-speed internet access, a 24-hour business center, and large in-room workstations. And check out the Bistro, where you'll enjoy healthier food and beverage options, as well as high-tech conveniences. Book your room today at the Courtyard Lincoln Downtown Haymarket.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Our sales, precision ag, parts, and service teams are ready to serve you this planning season. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
When you think of places with tons of great beer selections and amazing food menu in Omaha, the conversation should start and end with Bärchen Beer Garden in Benson. With more than 30 beers on tap, including several German options, you're sure to find something you like. And don't forget their Nashville hot chicken sandwich or any of their delicious hamburgers. Start off with the warm house-made pretzels and you're on to a great day at Bärchen Beer Garden in the heart of Benson in Omaha.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest, quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
So why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Tailored Lights is your go-to local manufacturer and installer of the best landscape lighting. Tailored Lights is excited to highlight the architecture of your home or business and provide a warm environment that feels safe. And for those outside the Lincoln area, they do ship across the country and are happy to work with anyone near or far with lights anywhere from 18 inches to 110 inches. Enhance your curb appeal with an exquisite tailored light today. Call 402-432-2572 or go to tailoredlights.com.
Again, thank you, Rashawn. Thank you all for participating. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your support. I'm going to do the intros differently today because the beauty of having this group together on stage is the way they identify with each other. So I'm going to introduce the first guy because I sit with him every day from 4 to 6 o'clock. He is my huge little brother. He is also the new program director at 93.7 The Ticket in Lincoln. Welcome Husker Hall of Famer, linebacker extraordinaire, great degree, great mind, Jay Foreman. Jay Foreman, if you would please, would you introduce this gentleman in the red shirt, please?
Sitting next to me, I mean, he's one of Omaha's finest. One of the guys that first, when I started looking at guys getting recruited, I was like, is he really that good, right? And when he showed up, he was everything that advertised. First of all, he obviously was a great teammate, great player. Obviously he was an All-American. Left us early, though. Brother, I was mad at you because we used to kick it over there at Fountain Glen. Then you rolled out on us, but I forgive you. Great dad, great family, dude. This is Amon Green. I'm glad that he's back in town.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
AG, if you would please, kind sir, introduce the fine-looking gentleman to the far right.
Sure. This guy, when I first met him and his brother, I was confused. They messed with a freshman where they got in my brain, and I had total respect and a little fear because I thought they were original gangsters, right? They got the hair slicked back. I've seen Scarface, I've seen Godfather, so I'm like, black leather coats. I know this look. Let me be, like my brother said, don't go in the Lincoln talking trash. Say, your respects to Tommy, to Jason, to Christian, Jay, act like you've been there before. And I'm like, okay. So I see these two guys and I'm like, oh my God, they got trench coats. Man, if I don't act right, it's not gonna be good for me. And so then fast forward, our first home game, and we, families coming in, moms, dads, and I meet their mother, and she has a heavy German accent. And I said, Mrs. Peters, excuse me, is that a German accent that you have? She's like, yes. And I'm like, your sons have been tormenting me with this gangster facade. She's like, oh, them boys, they're just having fun with you. And I'm like, all right, but those two guys, they were starting with, the guy and this guy to my right, or direct right, Jay, that defense, was something that, as they helped me as a freshman recognize basically what I had to do to be a part of this team. And right away between JP and CP, them two in the middle, they let me know right away. And for that, I thank them because I already knew what I had to do, but when I have the teammates, you kind of get the buy-in. That's the buy-in. You know, they're putting into me. They're telling me in my face up front what I got to do to be a part of this team and help this team win. And so I'm glad he did that, because confidence then grew, because then that's like, okay, now I got to show up. If they say something to me, that means they're looking to me to stand up on the stage and come in here and do something. Even though I was young, I was just turned 18 years old, you know, very ripe. So to have those guys, leaders like them on the team, to basically welcome me in made my transition from high school to college a little bit easier. Appreciate
Jason
you,
Peter, everybody.
Yep.
So through this event, you have to tell the personality stories. And I need to ask Jason, because I spend time with these two more than I do in talking to Jason, but I need to ask him this. What identifies these two guys next to you as champions? What personality profile? Is it in the work? Is it in the brain, the intelligence? Is it in the heart, the character? What is it that makes these two gentlemen next to you champions?
There are a lot of qualities, but I think the thing that sticks out the most, and it really just resonated, I think, through all of those teams, was the work ethic that we had. Some guys obviously were more talented than others, but when you stepped on the field, there was an expectation, there was a standard in the way that you were going to present yourself every single day, whether it was in the weight room or the field or the training table, the classroom. There was a standard. And, these guys, they both came in as young guys and contributed pretty much right away. I mean, Amon was a true freshman, and Amon came in at a time where we needed a running back. We had some injuries and some things happen at that position, and he stepped in and just kept on moving. And, for Jay, that was when he came in, the team, the defense had kind of defined itself already. So it wasn't an easy environment to be a young guy to come in and excel. And both of them did, like nobody else. These two guys you go to battle with any day of the week.
This was a unique team in that I love the mantra that you set the season. You had a thing that you had to finish and complete. And we always talk about the most difficult thing in all of sports is the finish. In the previous season, the finish wasn't tasteful. Didn't feel good about it. Jay, define unfinished business for these folks and what it meant to this team and how you used it.
Yeah, well, in '94, I was a young guy, so I was on the team, but definitely had a secondary role, wasn't playing. But the one thing I realized is, I was just happy. Jason won't tell. I was happy to be here, man. I was like, hey, I'm down here. I'm giving three, four square meals a day. I ain't never lift weights. I'm chilling. Let these dudes go do the work. But the one thing that I picked up on is the intensity that they went about their business. And so it was either you had to get on the train and do it the right way, or you're going to get left behind. And losing the way that the game didn't work out the way against Florida State, it motivated them. It motivated the coaches, and they just when you're sitting there and you're seeing how they work, and then you're going down to Oklahoma, down and out. I think Lawrence was hurt. Chief Frazier was still hurt, I think, and playing Oklahoma, that's a rival on the road, and look them in the eye and not even blink. And having, the different scenarios that are going on through the season, it takes a heart of a champion. And I always feel like what they learned in '93 maybe probably propelled in '94, and it brought the whole football program together. One thing I always say is that the one thing I did pick up on right away was whether you were turning, there was no detail unturned. If you're supposed to turn the lights off after a meeting, the lights better be damn off. If you're supposed to finish the gassers, you better finish, whether you're a starter or a backup or a practice squad guy. If you're supposed to be somewhere on time, you better be on time. And you had older guys watching you, how you practice. And practice was just as important at the games, because the games were already played, probably Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So you know, the unique qualities of championship teams was really embedded in them, and it didn't waver at all. There was no question about what you were going to do. You're going to do what everybody else did, and then you're going to do it the best you can do.
I'm going to address the elephant in the room. So these guys, they were playing football in 94 in college. And here we are in 2024, 2023. What fountain of youth are they sipping from? Does anybody, like, is there a mystery? Is there a mythical elixir that we are all missing out on? Because this isn't fair. Look at this. Listen, if those three put on uniforms Saturday and ran out the tunnel, I'm pretty sure Purdue would get back on the bus. Right? Like they would just say, no, not doing it. Not doing it.
They at least ask a question. Like, hold up.
No,
I just eligibility.
Like, what do you do? Yeah, like, listen.
Amon looks a little different than Jay and I. So
let's be honest. Amon is the standard that we're all trying to get, and we ain't getting there. You know, we got 2 plays left, the first and the last. That was it, right?
Look, but that would be enough.
Yeah,
look,
well, it might
look,
be. Yeah.
Look, you could resell another 90,000 seats if they found out you three were playing 2 more plays. Let me tell you, there's no joke about that. AG, to work the standard of who you work against, and to go as a freshman and play against this caliber of human being every day kind of sets the table. What was going through your head? What was it like to practice against these two?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I already started, like I said, with JP and CP. So it started back when I was at Central. So 94, that's when I'm a recruit, coming to practices, official visits, unofficial visits, coming to the stadium, watching the games. But then when I came on my official visit and I came into practice for the Orange Bowl, so y'all like 2 days away from flying down there. And the tone was set then as a senior at Central, where I come to practice, y'all in the cook, and I'm standing next to Doak, Ostergaard, and a few other, I think Coach Solis is standing next to me, and he's coaching. And Doak says, oh, check him out. I think it was Toby Wright, number 3. Oh, yeah, Toby, you know, he's a safety. I'm like, that's a strong safety? Like, God bless. I'm like, okay. He said, yeah, he just had a root canal this morning. I said, huh? And so just all that just kind of just came into my ears, into my brain, like root canal at what time? Oh, 8 a.m. Practice now like 3 o'clock. Did the Novocaine wear off? You know, I'm thinking about all this stuff, and he's in practice right now, as we would say, laying hats on people, hitting people. I'm like, okay. I see if I'm already in my brain, like, okay, when I come here, this is the mindset I gotta have. You know, playing through certain things, injuries or whatever, on or off the field stuff, you know, personal stuff, but you still gotta come out here. So that was kind of the tone that was set. And then once I got here, you know, I knew that once I made a decision to accept the scholarship and then come here, I knew that when I come here, I can't, like Jay said, can't mess around. You know, I gotta be ready to play ball, play some football.
That team outscored its opponents by 300 points. 300 points. To be a Husker fan in 94, how did you live with yourselves on Monday? Just destroying people by 30 points. I mean, come on. Okay, so through that, the defense managed in a 13-game season to hold teams to under 10 points a game. Unfair, unbalanced, a roster that included 38 future professional football players. 38 on the same roster. Jason, tell me about practice, because that had to be, even without your knowing the future, you had to know, man, this is different.
You just knew from the moment that you stepped on the field as a freshman that you were going to have to come to work every single day. And there was a certain intensity, no matter what happened, you know, earlier in the morning, or, you know, a fight with your girlfriend the night before, whatever happened. When you showed up at 3 o'clock, you walked out on that field, you had to be ready to go. And that was everybody from top to bottom. Whether it was, you were doing ones versus ones, you expected nothing but game speed, coming on the other side. And if you were a scout team player, there was a certain standard that we expected guys to be running plays, offensive linemen. I needed to see an offensive lineman if he was supposed to down block me. And, it might have been a freshman, say, when I'm a junior or senior, and maybe he's a little nervous. Am I really going to down block on Jason Peter here? What if I I can't tell you the amount of times that a guy came and didn't come hard enough, and you end up grabbing the guy and say, first off, I need to check. What's the language here? Can we curse?
See, I gave you the warning in advance. Listen, I sent a blank check to the FCC because I wasn't sure. And I am so appreciative that he at least asked.
Yeah.
That he asked.
I've matured over the years. Before I wouldn't have asked.
I'm not sure they prefer that, though. Fair statement.
Well,
say what you need to say.
You grab a guy by the face mask and you say, next time you better fucking down block me harder than that. I don't know. Maybe there's a difference between the F word and the S word. I probably should have clarified that.
We have a dump button. We had 7
right?
seconds. There we go. We had 7 seconds. We figured that out. And I know the producer's back at the station hitting the button as hard as he could. We changed that to the Jason button today. We kind of expected.
I forgot we got kids in the room. My apology.
No, Nate's built for it. He's built for it. That young man's tough. Through all of this, each of you have your own memories of it, and that's the beauty of going back, is that all of you went through different journeys in that season. So to your recollection, what was your favorite game? Because I've talked to Jay, and sometimes he'll say Colorado because of the way it happens. Sometimes he'll say Kansas State because they reevaluated. Wyoming because of the stun factor. AG, what was the game that sticks out in your mind as the one where you went, oh yeah, we're the best team in the country?
Oh man, well, like I said, I'm in high school.
But you're watching it.
I'm watching this, right?
with the eyes of
and so
with ownership as your thing.
A few games stick out to me in particular, but I'll say watching the national title game is the game that probably put the bow on the season for me as a fan, and then like making my decision. Watching that game, because everybody knows the scenario. It's the national title. They're playing Miami in the Orange Bowl, which is supposed to be a neutral stadium, and it's not. I know this as a sports fan. I'm 17 years old at the time. So I'm like, this is an unfair advantage. They're playing in Miami against the Hurricanes. Okay. And you mentioned there are 38 players that played in the NFL. I'm pretty sure they had the same around number.
36.
Something like that. Right. So they're playing pro caliber players versus pro caliber players. And then once I saw the game, when Corey got the first punch that kind of stunned him, and then he finished it off later. When I saw those two plays and then the defense do what they did, it was like, this is now we're getting out of the, referees getting out of our way, because the year before what happened, and 2 years before that, referees deciding the game for us. Now was a point where it was no decision being made from the referees. It was no decision being made from whatever else, and not the Huskers. It was the Huskers, the players, the coaching staff, my future teammates on that field. I'm like, if those guys can play down there in that hostile environment where it's not supposed to, it's supposed to be, like I said, neutral field, I'm playing with some guys that when I come in that locker room, it's going to be really no questions asked. This is what I got to do to be on this football field, to be in this locker room in general, to play football.
I'm going to make somebody on this stage really uncomfortable right now. Playing Miami in Miami, Jay Foreman's family in a previous life thought of themselves as a Miami family. The great Chuck Foreman played at Miami. And so there's Jay down there in Miami hanging out. Who are you rooting for?
I was, by that time,
Look,
it was all Huskers, man.
Listen, he, in his head, he's hearing his uncles, his dad.
My dad actually, when we played him, he wanted us to win he had gotten over me not going to Miami. But
that part, yeah.
I grew up at Miami in a Miami household, and the only thing I knew about Nebraska is that they would beat Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. That's what happened all the time. And then obviously Coach Osborne changed that, obviously, and then getting down here. And so once I, broke away from the, the family mold, my dad at least said the right thing. I think deep down he probably wanted Miami to win, and he could say, I told you so, but we handled them pretty good. But as far as the game that I knew that national championship was probably on the horizon, it's kind of two. Well, first, early in the season, that we played UCLA. And so they had Jonathan Ogden, like J.J. Stokes. They had a linebacker named Donnie Edwards. In your linebacker, you kind of always know who's good. And they had the running back, I think he changed his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They had some NFL dudes. We, smoked them pretty good. So I was like, all right, Florida State game wasn't a fluke. But then here come Colorado. They played them earlier in the season, right? So I remember it was hot as Hades. And they had NFL dudes everywhere. And you're talking Chad Brown, Russell, Canavis McGee. They had all, and then they had the whole D line was NFL dudes, Westbrook, Rashawn Salam, yep. I think Cordell. And I saw a different team. Now, obviously, when you play Colorado, you try to kill them. But to beat Colorado the way that we did, it wasn't a foregone conclusion. It would be like, something has to happen, because the team was when you can raise the level of play even after beating UCLA, that means there's no letdown. You can't rest on your laurels. You knew that the national championship was a great possibility.
Jason, you had an interesting journey because you had family that went along with you. How important was that in your success, is having somebody that you could lean on and be guided by?
Yeah, that was huge. I don't know if I end up here, if Christian's not already here. But at the end of the day, just the opportunity to play side by side next to him just kind of outweighed everything else. And it's, I think there's a stage that all freshmen, go through. They get a little homesick. They're not playing. And, to be able to have your older brother there, it just made my transition into college life a whole lot easier. I probably didn't have to go through a lot of the stuff that maybe some freshmen from out of state, maybe someone like Jay had to go through, where you don't really know many people, if any at all, when you step foot on campus. And by then, by the time I stepped foot on campus for the first time, I had already, I knew all of the defensive linemen. I knew some of the, the offensive linemen and some of the other guys just from coming out to visit Christian. And so it was a big part of my experience here at Nebraska, certainly.
That's a roster filled with stars.
Yeah.
Jason, I'll ask you this first. Who's the player on that team that probably deserves to be talked about more than they are?
I think when you think of 94, you probably think, that was the original pipeline. When you think about games like Kansas State, where you go down there with Matt Turman, and, now if you ask Zach Wiegert, he'll tell you, that he was telling the defense, we're running the ball right here to try to stop us. Right now, I don't know if that was true or not. Amon, maybe you could, give us some insight if you heard any of that stuff going on. Zach likes to kind of toot his own horn a little bit. As far as a under the radar sort of guy, I don't know. I think Aaron Miles is a guy who, maybe he wasn't, a guy that he may have been an All-American. He was an All-American, right? But he was kind of like a quiet All-American. And Barron was just a lockdown corner, and he was a leader of the team. He went about it different than, say, somebody like Christian, who's, loud and in your face. Barron was much more reserved, but when Barron spoke, everybody listened.
Jay, who's that for you?
I mean, I had a really good perspective in the sense of I could take it all in, but I had to face the pipeline and Corey Schlesinger every day. And Jason was right. I was thinking about quitting. I was like, man, I had my car packed up, and my dad was like, bro, you ain't getting in this house. You might as well stay. But I'd probably say a guy that I had a lot of respect for. I think that maximized, his ability would probably be like Terry Keneally, and I think in that Miami game, the way that him and Christian played, that whole game, and they beat the crap out of Frank Costa. Is it Frank Costa? Yeah. I saw him this weekend. He don't look the same still. I'd probably say Terry Keneally because you had the defensive ends, kind of get all the fanfare. The D tackles make it happen. You knew what you're going to get with Christian, and Terry Keneally was he was an intense dude, but he was he's from he played 8-man, right? Yeah. He played 8-man from Podunk, Nebraska. No offense, Hyannis. But Hyannis. I don't know where that's at.
My bad.
But you got to think he had a huge impact in Miami in the first national championship for Coach Osborne. I think he's definitely is kind of underrated on that team.
How does it? Let me ask you two on the end. How does it feel? Does it add to the value of it that this was Coach Osborne?
It's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket.
We actually thought about that sort of stuff. I mean, that was a lot of stuff that maybe was generated, in the media and stuff. But, when you're in the season, the walls kind of go up, around the stadium and the facility. You don't hear a lot of the noise. I mean, you think about there was some on 94, but especially 95 with some of that off the field stuff. I mean, every time an article was written, whether it was being critical of TO or the players, the walls just went up higher and we just got more focused. We really did. That's like people talking about Michigan kind of and the thing that's going on with them. It's like, it's just feeding the beast right now. Those walls are just going to go up. They're just going to get more focused. And I'm expecting Michigan probably to play the best that they've played all year this week.
It just struck me that would 94 have been easier or more difficult with today's social media, media exposure, fans having voices and cameras everywhere? Would it make it easier or more difficult?
That 95 team, boy, I think we dotted every I and T as far as some ruckus. But what I will say, people think it would be harder because of the look, you can't really go out and eat, but the status that we were at. But I remember this specifically, that we had some stuff going on, and Christian Peter in 95 kicked all the coaches out. And first of all, you can say anything to Coach Osborne would say, "Hi, how you doing, Coach?" You take some big what. Yep. He kicked all the coaches out, and he said, listen, if I hear or we catch any of you guys, doesn't even matter if it's a freshman and you're redshirted, downtown when you're not supposed to, because we had curfew, I think Thursdays at 9 or something like that, you don't have to worry about running gassers or stairs. You got to deal with me. And from then on out, I don't think we had a problem about anything. I mean, people were getting in. People were having bed check day before because you don't want Christian after you, man. Because Christian and that D line, but the thing about it, I say this: I think the leadership on all those teams, especially 94, would have, I think, got rid of any of that stuff.
I think that was the difference. I think in what ultimately got us to the point where we were winning those games that they normally would lose is the leadership. They just started it was the right group of guys that came in at the right time, whether Christian and Keneally and guys like that, and it was everybody. The main thing, the most important thing, was winning national championships. It wasn't about winning conference championships. We wanted to win national championships, and we wanted to win them all. And whatever leadership said, that was the end of it.
Except if it was offensive guys like Rashawn.
Of course.
Like Rashawn. Is Rashawn still here? We never listened to Rashawn.
You had this is
I just want
this is
everybody
the
to
brotherhood.
know.
What'd you
See,
do,
this
Jay?
is-
You invited him in now.
I just want everybody to know though. It was just saying this just to get it clear. All right, I say this every time that I've been said it last time. We never the offense. Tommy Frazier and all those guys you hear with it. They didn't win any championship. We've always won it on defense. We had to bail these dudes out. I don't know how many times they had short field after short field, turnovers, sacks. We're returning punts on punt return. And then next thing you know, they're on the Daily Nebraskan and Husker Illustrated. I mean, heck, here's the thing. Rashawn and them was mad because we bailed them out against Central Florida. Me and Jason got a sack, and he was mad we were on Husker Illustrated. I mean, you know, you guys were turning the ball over. I mean, dang.
I just for a moment. You understand? See, why I shave my head is because it's all gray now. Because I spend my day standing between these two, trying to keep peace. It's like parents at a house. What are you two doing? Stop it. Rashawn, go to your room. Jay, behave. Be nice.
I couldn't live with myself without saying.
This is why
it'd be a long drive back if I didn't let everybody know that the offense just rode on our coattails.
This is why Coach Osborne is the GOAT. He managed this group. I just have to say it out loud. Coach Osborne, wherever you are, you, sir, are an angel on earth.
Yeah, I'm getting a little irritated right now. You black shirts were really good. I'll give you your credit where credit is due. But I don't think that you average 400 yards rushing and you're not a good offense.
Yeah, you guys were good.
And he drops the microphone.
I know. All those practices that we had to start over because we were just dominating you guys. I mean, that's right. See, the offense is just a byproduct. I'd never forget this. We were out there. Remember that, Jason? 7 o'clock in the morning. T.O. used to have these practices early in full pads. And we won a national championship offense out there. Had T. Frage and all them. Rashawn probably got in there a little bit. We gave him the business some. We halfway through practice. I mean, we are just obliterating the offense. T.O. sent us back in, started over. That's because of Rashawn. Rashawn in the offense. And then next thing you know what? They had 400 yards rushing. We was over clapping for it. Said, that's a good job, man. We taught you guys well.
This is the beauty of it. I gotta
back that up. Yes.
Right. Like that's the whole thing. Through all of it. And you're now on campus. And a lot of the conversation is giving exposure to today's player, to what it means to be a Nebraska football player, what it means to be a Husker. So if a young recruit comes in the door and asks you, what does it mean to be a Nebraska Husker? What do you say to them?
Well, I already have. I had this conversation with Kewan Lacey, running back out of Dallas, Texas, that they're recruiting right now. And I basically, like every recruit that came in, and I think I batted 1,000. D'Angelo Evans, I hosted him. Carell Buckalter, I hosted him. Joe Walker. They all came in. And what I said to them, really simple. I say, you come in here, you know your plays. You show up in the weight room. You show up on conditioning during the summer. Get your grades right. Stay out of trouble. You do those 5 things, you'll have an opportunity to play. Not saying you're going to start. You'll have an opportunity to play, because Coach Osborne said that to my dad recruiting me out of Central. My dad asked the question, will my son get an opportunity to play his freshman year? Coach Osborne pretty much said those 5 things, or maybe 4. And my dad just like, thank you, that's all I need to know, because he knew his son could do that. He knew I could do that because that's the way he raised me. So when it's really simple laid out like that for any freshman, I said the same thing to Kewan Lacey. Just you do those 4 or 5 things, even though it's Matt Rule's, a different staff, and a generation away from when I was on the field and on campus. But you do those things, it's universal. I don't care what sport you're playing or what job you're going into. You do those basic things, the fundamentals of being a well-rounded human being, you'll be able to be successful in anything, but you'll be able to come in and fit into a program of what they're trying to change down there right now. That's what I told him.
Jason Peter, this is, I mean, it's family for you. What does it mean when people from around the country ask you, well, what's it all about? What's this Husker thing all about?
I mean, this is the time, like I think for us, our experience is different than a lot of guys, you know, who went and played Division I. I mean, what we accomplished, you know, I think Alabama kind of got close, but really winning 3 out of 4 years and having the opportunity to win 5 in a row there, it makes our experience extremely special. You know, so the relationships that I had here in college certainly outweigh the relationships, you know, from the NFL, from high school, whatever it may be. I think especially now that time has passed and being able to reflect on what we were able to do, you really realize how special it was. And just seeing, you know, like this past weekend, they had a little tailgate for Coach McBride and the offensive and defensive linemen, and was walking with my family and over to the tailgate, and Coach Osborne was coming, heading towards the stadium, and just being able to stop and have my kids spend some time. You know, Coach Osborne, he's one of the greatest ever, you know, and we feel blessed that we were able to play under this man and get guidance under this man for, you know, I'm not going to say 4 or 5 years, because he's a guy that stays in all of our lives. I guarantee, you know, he every few months, if I haven't run into him somewhere, he's always calling, just wants to check in, see how you're doing, how's the family, and I'm pretty sure he probably does that with most of his players. And that's just you know, a testament to him and the type of person that he is, and it just makes it all that more special. You know, our time that we were here.
Jay Foreman, what's it mean to you?
You know, I think the biggest thing for me is this is where we all grew up, you know, and that's why Coach Osborne, I mean, look, he was father figure to all of us, and he still not worries, but checks in on us. And that's,
no, you're right. He worries. He absolutely worries.
Yeah, he probably does. Yeah. But, you know, we all grew up together. We went through some stuff together, and everybody had their moments, and not of them all were good, but we all could depend on each other. You know, without Jason, you know, I probably wouldn't have been able to push myself or have confidence to be the player. And then hopefully I had some influence on Mon because I knew him because he came in the same class as Tony Ortiz. But then the bond that we have, you know, of the winning and stuff like that, but was just being teammates, you know. And look, we were blessed to be here during a magical time, a great run of 5 years, and to go through it. The pressure was there. And I think all of us learned how to deal with it in our own way. And then by the time we became juniors and seniors, we could look back and be like, man, you know, I wouldn't have done it or been able to be here without so-and-so. And then you appreciate it more. One thing that was always funny, I think we won our second national championship, right? When my uncle and my dad, we used to always go to Orlando because we'd always play in the Orange Bowl. He was like, man, and I remember they both were, you know, having a couple beers, and they were like, you don't even know what you're doing right now, or what, you know, as far as Nebraska, the team. And I was like, we're just playing football. This is all we knew. He's like, when you get to my age, which is what I'm at right now, he's like, you really appreciate it. And, you know, we were very fortunate to be here during that time.
It's a great run, exceptional run, as a matter of fact. But now, as you transition into the Matt Rule era, the team sits at 4-3. We'll go up and down the line and tell me how you feel about this team, the program itself. AG, let me ask you, what's the thing that stands out as a good thing going on with this 4-3 Huskers team?
What I see is every time I get the opportunity to catch Coach Rule in his press conference right after practices, what I see and what I like and what I'm hearing is the fact that he's putting a lot of the change on the players. he understands where his job is at as a coach. Now it's back in spring ball with the coaches and he brought in too. They got to lay the groundwork. They got to lay and find out, getting the buy-in from the players. But now when we're in season, kind of like what Jason talked about, what Jay talked about, between the walls going up and the players amongst themselves, talking to one another, they're like, hey, we got to figure this out. We got to make the decisions and make the choices within the football field and within the locker room of how we're going to win this. How are we going to get to where we want to get, whatever their goals are. I know our goals were Big 8 conference first, and then Big 12, and then national title game. So whatever those goals they have for themselves, they have to figure out, like, all right, we got to figure this thing out. How are we going to, get our focus more tighter? How are we going to, not create errors for ourselves, make mistakes, and how are we going to, make it to where we're in a winning area of the game and a game time. So among the players. So when I hear him say that he's asking them those questions, that means he's cultivating them, making it, in their head, making no decisions to understand that this is among us. The coaches are there just to guide, but for us, we got to finish the whole program to get where we want to get. If it's bowl game, if it's whatever for the end of this season, it's going to be among us as the players.
Well said. Jay Foreman, I know you're going to go a minute on this one because this one lines up for you. What is the good thing about this 4-3 team?
Oh, they're 4-3. I mean, look, they're finding ways to win. Let's be honest. They're been perfect, obviously, because you'd like to be, you gave away a couple games. So the biggest thing I think they're doing is finding ways to win. And I think that's a lost art in sports in general, just doing what you need to do to win. And they're working hard, and I think they're starting to see some results from it. So you have to start finding the ability to win, adjustment at halftime. I think they're doing a good job with that. So now the expectation, I said it before, is like, you kind of go up to Minnesota and you play good enough to win. Now you know what you can do. Now you got to do it more consistently. So they're trying to get more consistent, but to be 4-3 is look, to try to get the bowl game, you're 2 steps away. So I like the fact that they're learning how to win.
Jason, what is it for you about this team at 4-3? How would you describe it and define it?
I like the energy that they're playing with, especially on defense. I know the last couple of opponents haven't been, we didn't beat Michigan and Ohio State, but those were the 2 teams that we had to play with, and they did what they needed to do in order to win. And I think they treat this next play like it's the last play that they may play. And that wasn't always the case. Jay and I, we spent some time down there of Frost's last 2 years trying to help. And I mean, 90% of the time we'd be over there pulling our hair out saying, what does it take to get some of these guys going? Like,
Right.
For us, it was just step on the field, just walk into the Cook Pavilion or
Right.
walk out into Memorial Stadium, and you just knew, boom, it's got to be going, right? It's got to be going full speed, 100 miles an hour. Otherwise, you were going to get left on the side of the road. I like seeing that. And the times that I've been down to practice and have got to spend some time with Coach Rule, there's nobody that's above getting their ass chewed out by him. I've seen him chew out the assistant coaches. I've seen him chew out players. He's demanding of excellence. And I think that's where it started, for us.
Yeah.
Like, we walked in and there was just this excellent. You had to be excellent. Like, everything that you did, there was a standard. There was a certain way that you had to do it. No exceptions. No exceptions. Like Jay was saying, to start off, every little thing. I mean, it's the little things that make teams ultimately great. It's not just scoring touchdowns or making sacks. It's the guy who is the factor, the 3 technique that stuffs the play that makes the ball bounce back to the nose guard, where he the 3 technique may not get all the glory and the praise, but he's the one that made the play happen. And they're fine with that now. Like, I think before it was like, well, if I didn't like the play, then, what's the big deal? But everybody's got a part in every play being successful. And I think they're starting to understand that.
Through all of it, we've started to identify some of the personalities and the talent on this team. So we'll go up and down the row. I'm on, who's a player that you actually enjoy watching currently on this Husker team?
Man, I've been up in Wisconsin too long, so I was blinded by that other red and white team.
Well,
so
it happens. We forgive you. We forgive you. We do.
Man, so please forgive my my information here.
Yeah.
But I mean, guys I've watched that I say jump out on a camera that we, when we watch film, jump out on tape. A guy that I say he's really on my mind because of what he's going through right now. It's Anthony Grant, the running back. So we've been through similar little, I say, journeys. And for mine, it was at the pro level. So what he's going through right now with holding on to the ball and that whole narrative. And I say narrative because as a football player, things are going to happen. Offensively, you're going to know quarterback's going to throw interceptions, running back's going to fumble the ball. It's just a part of the game. Sometimes we're not just trying to give it away. Just y'all know how to come in and strip, grab and pull,
punch it out,
or hold a running back, in a certain way where he can't really focus on the ball, where he's getting tattooed. So you got all those little different things going on. And when for me, I explained this last week in terms of Anthony, because like I said, I was in my second year in Seattle, and I had a guy by the name of Mike Holmgren come in, take over as our coach, Super Bowl winning coach. I'm still this young kid from Nebraska trying to, crack the lineup. I'm a special teamer. I'm doing my job, third down back when I can. And during that training camp, I had to start learning a new offense. So I come from learning what we ran here in Lincoln and then learning what Dennis Erickson ran at Seattle, but from Miami. It was a numbered system of plays. And then now I've got to learn the West Coast, which I was so super excited about it because I grew up watching Tom Rathman, Roger Craig, Joe Montana, those guys running the 49 offense. So I kind of knew what I was getting into, but I really didn't know. So when I found it, when I opened that playbook, I was like, oh my goodness. I already knew English. I knew Spanish, but I don't know German. I don't know Mandarin. I'm speaking it's another whole playbook I got to relearn. So it kind of had me in a state of processing, right? Just like computers, when you don't have that internet, you see that little circle buffering. I was buffering all the preseason. So I wasn't me. So I was making no mistakes. I was dropping the ball on the ground because I'm overthinking things. Not saying that Anthony's doing that. It might be a whole nother reason why he's there. But the one thing I learned from that situation and talking and running into guys, being at the NFL level, you got an opportunity to sometimes just bump into a guy at the right time. And it was a moment where I think we played against the Rams and ran into Marshall Faulk and was able to talk to him on the sidelines during that game. And he kind of said that statement to me, what I just said. Quarterbacks throw interceptions. We're going to drop the ball on the ground, but don't let that describe who you are as a running back. You still run hard, be the back that you are that got you here to Seattle. He kind of said that and went about his time, during the warm-up, and I'm just it just hit me. So he's got to Anthony has to get to that moment where he gets himself out of that hole. But sometimes you're not going to have that teammate. You're not going to have that coach, especially at the pro level. It was all me. Coach Homer wasn't going to sit me on his lap and say, hey, buddy, how are we going to get out of this? No, I had to figure it out on my own. I mean, what Jason mentioned with Coach Osborne, having that staff, having him as a coach, we might got a little extra, help every now and then. And that's what made him special. That's what made him have us ready in life and in games before a kickoff to run through a brick wall. Like from his speeches where he never swore, but he could get a guy like JP, his brother Christian, this guy sitting to my right, myself, steaming me, seeing red to go out there and play against people because we knew not only he was getting us ready, but he cared about us. So for Anthony, he has to understand he's got to dig himself out of this hole. And he could do it. But he's just got to keep working and be consistent and then get there. And then he'll have his opportunity. He'll be the back that I know he can be.
Jay, who pops for you? Who's the player on the current roster that makes you?
I'll probably say Omar Brown. I think Singleton. I think both of the safeties have played well. They've been consistent. You can throw Gifford in there as well because they kind of like a triangle safety. I think Omar's done a really good job. I think he came in with high expectations and was dinged up last year. And from the very first game, he's been real consistent. He's a good tackler, plays with really good energy. He's physical. and he attacks the ball. I think he has 2 interceptions and he has a few pass breakups. But from a linebacker's perspective that know what your safeties are doing back there, I think he's probably allowed Tony White and those guys to feel very comfortable with it, and with his improvement in consistent play.
Jason, is somebody for you that pops?
Yeah, I mean, my eyes always gravitate towards the defensive line. I like the way Cameron Lenhart has come in and added, to the rush. But a defense will never be great unless you have dudes in the middle. And the way that Ty Robinson and Nash are playing is the difference. They're stout in the middle. They're everything kind of starts there. If you're weak in the middle, then everything opens up for an offense. So the way that those two guys have been in there, and without question, the switch, to this defense has helped them. For Nash to be able to play a shade where he can just focus on kicking the shit out of the center. That's it. I mean, Nash is one of the strongest guys that has ever come through the program. So for him, when he gets his hands on you, and if he's listed at 340, that means he's about 360, right? And I wasn't sure. I remember telling Jay last year, I'm like, I don't know if he'll make it on defense. He may be better suited to play guard. Some guys are just better being told where to go rather than have to, read and react to what's happening all in, a split second. But I think that the change of defense, having Ty be able to, whether it's a 3 or a 5, the techniques that they were playing in Frost defense, those are tough like it's inside shade, like 2 eyes and 4 eyes. Those are tough techniques to play. And I remember telling Jay the first time we went down there, I'm like, God dang, I'm like, those were hard, I remember when I had to do it, like, these guys, they're just getting going here. Like that's got to be, brutal for them. And I think it showed in the play, and without question, the second that they changed to this new defense where you're getting guys more on the outer edge, that's helped. It's helped tremendously.
What is wrong with you guys? You can't be biased all your life. I know you black shirts. But let me just say this question. I got to answer this question. Heinrich Harburg. That's why. The quarterback play for me, I will speak for myself. Okay.
Can't wait to hear this.
No, unsolicited. Always unsolicited.
Hey, you're a team captain with me, so we're gonna play nice. When we came in together, Jason, we're real brothers now. Your little brother Jay Foreman over there, that's a different story. So I'll give you a pass, bro. But to me, Heinrich Harburg is key because you had a quarterback. If you look at his first 3 games, wasn't it? Heinrich Harburg is 4-1 as a starter. And you can say how ugly the game was. Thanks for the defense, right? I appreciate the defense. But you can say whatever you want. The game is ugly, but guess what we got? A win. We're not coming in here with our butts on the ground, pissed off because we just lost. Now, I've been in the car business for a long time. Let me say this. When Nebraska loses, we don't sell any cars. Okay? The economy is better when Nebraska wins, even if it's 17-9. So Heinrich Harburg is my guy.
Thank you, Vershawn. Vershawn, don't go anywhere. We need you. So as we close this, we got time. I want to take a question from the crowd. So if you have a question for this crew up or anybody up here, raise your hand, and Vershawn will get you.
Hello, thank you for the great program today. A very memorable moment was the Fumblerooski. Could you guys discuss a little bit about, or just give some reflections on playing for and practicing for it and trying to defend against it?
I know we're old, but I don't think we're that old. I think that play was outlawed by the time we got to school, right? I don't think you could.
Yeah, I don't think we
you could
we
run
didn't work
that.
on that anymore.
Right, but Yeah, it was something to watch. That's for sure. I mean, Nebraska almost identified to some degree, I think, with that play. A lot of just college football fans remember watching the old Fumblerooski and just, the connection to Nebraska. So certainly was a big part of our history.
Yeah, they outlawed that in '93 when we got here. One more question. Come on. Where are we at? Right here. Let me stay right over here. We'll get one more over there too, DP.
Hi, this is Furman. What's Fred Vinson doing this day, and what the hell was Seattle thinking?
Oh man, I don't know. That's a great question. So the question was asked, Fred, what is Fred Vinson doing? And so Fred Vinson was the player I got traded for to Green Bay. And what's even more ironic and crazy about this, so we get traded in the spring of 2000. The Seahawks the next day drafted Shaun Alexander. They have their mini camp. We have our mini camp that year. Fred Vinson tears his ACL second day of mini camp. Yeah. So for myself, obviously getting introduced to the business world, of how NFL works, because I was a guy just 2 months prior. So that was April. So 3 months in January, we're year-end meeting with Coach Holmgren. And he tells me, hey, Iman, you progress really good. You start learning the plays. You got in there doing your job on third down. So if you keep at this rate, with mini camps coming up, you can push Ricky Waters for the starting job in August. And so that's all I need to hear. I said, man, I'm doing the right things. Here we go. And then 2 months later, I'm headed back to the Midwest. Like, God bless America. I got to come back. The only thing I was gritting not to come back to was the weather. I was like, God, dog. I'm in Green Bay at this time, Woo-wee. And then I've lived there for 23 years and so used to the cold weather. So this is
okay. Last one. I think he had his hand up now.
So this is a break.
Look, before you answer that question, trivia. Who is the all-time Green Bay Packer leading rusher? Who is he? He's up there on stage. That's him right there. Green Bay Packer all-time leading rusher.
Thank you.
Holy smokes. In the building, played for the Huskers. Can you believe that?
Right there.
He said you don't need a mic. I'm going to let him go.
So, esports.
Yes.
First of all, thank you all.
You need a mic because everybody.
All right. Thank you all for coming. This is great. But Mr. Esports, I have a question.
Yes.
We hear Jason and Jay talk about how the kids kind of just, if it doesn't go well right away in their minds, they're just hitting the reset button and going to the next game. So my question for you is, do you see any positive influence as now an esports coach that the video game generation is having on actually going onto a field and playing the game that they can just sit in their leather couch in an 80-inch screen and play? And if they don't like how it starts, they just hit restart.
No, it don't work. It don't work that way in esports. And one, it wouldn't be an 80-inch screen. It'd be about 23.6. It's just for more competition style. But no, it's the same mindset. I've had this conversation in the last 4 years since I've been coaching esports. Same conversation that coaches have had with us about showing up on time, about playing your role. Nothing changes. It's a team atmosphere, and that's the part that I was honest with the players. I said, hey guys, my first year at Lakeland University, I told them, look, I don't play every game, so I don't know every game. But one thing I do know is teamwork. I know how the dynamic of that is and what that sounds like and what that looks like. So yes, we got practice because they didn't know we was going to have practice. It's like, we got practice, coach? I'm like, yes. 2, we're going to watch film of our games even when we lose. We're going to watch the game film. We got to sit there and go through us getting our butts kicked. It's a learning experience. And when we win, it's even better. So we can learn more from that just as well as from losing. And so, that's the hardest part about esports is just teaching them because, there's no esports little leagues. It's flag football, right? You got T-ball. You have, little swimming and all other sports. They have little leagues out there. So by the time I get them, if I was a football coach, it'd be a different world, but it's not. So with no little leagues now, I got to pretty much put into them some of the stuff that we learn as young kids, developing in football, baseball, basketball. So that's the hardest thing. But once I get it in them, they get it, they understand. And every now and then, I do have that player that gets it, guy or girl, they understand what it takes. I had Brittany, who was a transfer from Concordia, who I recruited of this past year. She asked me if she could basically be one of the team managers or basically assistant coaches. I said, in Overwatch 2. And I said, yes, yeah, you can help out. You know, we need more help. I need all hands on deck, just me and another coach right now, Ryan Tan, that came from Penn State. So we're a small staff now, but growing. But it's the same mindset. Nothing changes. The only thing we can't do is some of the rituals that we're initiating each other in the locker room. That ain't going down. But I tried my best to run a marathon match of Call of Duty, but that's about it. That's all we could do with them. So that's about it. Thanks for asking the question, though.
I am so frightened by the locker room thought. We'll figure that out. We'll work that out. Listen, a couple of things. Sherry, where's Sherry? Yeah. Oh, okay. So we have to give away some. Do we have another pair of tickets? We gave away both pair of tickets. So we did that. Okay. And then. So we have, how many winners do we have? 3. We have 3 winners. Rashawn, would you give out those 3 prizes, please?
Jeff Smith. Where's Jeff? Come on up here, Jeff. Omaha Steaks. Well, I've got to have my beauties up here to do that part. Yeah. David Neumeister. Did I say that right? Come on, Dave. Come on up here, Dave. Dave won some goodies, a Husker Full House book and a 3D desktop stadium mouse pad. And then one more. Okay. And this is for the McKinnis. Jamie Pavel. Come on, Jamie. Dang, you sound surprised.
Congratulations to all of you winners. Well done, Jamie. Right? I have a question for all of you in the room because the success of this event, one, is based on your enthusiasm and your support. So thank you for making these Big Red Brunches the events that they've become and allows us to bring these gentlemen together. I'll ask you by round of applause, if we did these events for women's volleyball, would you support it? By applause, if we did these events for men's and women's basketball, would you support it? Baseball and softball, would you support it? And because most of you know Mark Manning, and if I do not mention him and the wrestling program, he will send a gang of folks in singlets after me. Will you support an event like this for Nebraska wrestling? So, Sherry, that is the information we need for us to pull this stuff together. Listen, thank you for your support. Thank you for your passion, for your energy, and for what you do. Gentlemen on this stage, this event keeps getting better, and you're why. Thank you for Husker Nation and everything else. How about a standing ovation for the 94 champs? We're going to take some pictures. We'll sign some items. If you can start the line this way, coming this way, we'll get them for as long as we have them. Thank you, and go Big Red.